We read it out. O mind, just worship the lotus feet of the son of Nanda, which make one fearless. Having obtained this rare human birth, cross over this ocean of worldly existence through the association of saintly persons. Both in the day and at night, I remain sleepless, suffering the pains of the heat and cold, and the wind and the rain. For a fraction of flickering happiness, I have uselessly served wicked and miserly men. What assurance of real happiness is there in all of one's wealth, youthfulness, sons, and family members? This life is tottering like a drop of water on a lotus petal. Therefore, you should always serve and worship the divine feet of Lord Hari. It is the desire and great longing of Govinda Das to engage himself in the 9 processes of bhakti, namely, hearing the glories of the Lord Hari and chanting those glories, constantly remembering him and offering prayers to him, serving the Lord's lotus feet, serving the Supreme Lord as a servant, worshipping him with flowers and incense and so forth, serving him as a friend and completely offering the Lord one's very self. So this is the meaning, translation of this bhajan. Bhaja Hare Mana Shri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charana Ravindare. Bhaja Hare Mana Shri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charana Ravindare. Dulabha Manava Janama Satsangi Tarahare Bhava Sindhure. Dulabha Manava Janama Satsangi Tarahare Bhava Sindhure. Shita Atapa Vata Varisana Edina Yamini Jagire. Shita Atapa Vata Varishana Edina Yamini Jagire. Vifale se vino kripana durjana Chapala sukha lava lagire. Vifale se vino kripana durjana Chapala sukha lava lagire. Edana yauvana putra parijana Ite kiyache paratiti re. Edana yauvana putra parijana Ite kiyache paratiti re. Kamala dala jala jivana tala mala Bhajahu hari padani. Kamala dala jala jivana tala mala Bhajahu hari pada nidire. Shravana kirtana smarana bandhana pada sevana dasya re. Shravana kirtana smarana bandhana pada sevana dasya re. Pujana sakhi jana atmani vedana Govinda dasa vilas re. Pujana sakhi jana atmani vedana Govinda dasa vilas re. Bhaja Hare Mana Shri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charana Ravindare. Bhaja Hare Mana Shri Nandanandana Abhaya Charana Bindare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Damodar, Radhe. Jaya Radha Damodar, Radhe. Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladev, Jaya Subhadra, Jaya Sudarshan. Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladev, Jaya Subhadra, Jaya Sudarshan. Jaya Gauranidai, Jaya Gauranidai, Jaya Gauranidai, Jaya Gauranidai. Jai Jai Prabhupada, Jai Jai Prabhupada, Jai Jai Gurudev, Jai Jai Gurudev. Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So welcome you all in this session of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4. We are discussing the transcendental knowledge. And in this chapter, as of now, we have discussed that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and He appears in this world to deliver the pious souls, to attract the living entities, Jiva. And He does it by setting example. He performs some activity, and He gives us this knowledge. With the help of this knowledge, so that we can achieve the perfection of life, we can get free from the entanglement of this material world, sufferings of this material world. That is the ultimate purpose of Krishna's appearance in this world. So He wants us to get free from all sufferings, from all entanglement in this material world. So He appeared and He delivered this knowledge, And through disciplic succession, we are getting this knowledge. And also, Krishna is saying that one who understands his transcendental birth and activities, he is delivered. Right? If we want to get delivered from the sufferings, what one activity we have to do? We have to understand Krishna. He is saying that one who knows my activities or my birth in truth, not only stories, in truth, tattvata, is knowing this fact that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and nothing is impossible for him. He can do anything and everything. So when we know this, and also when we know our true identity and our relationship with Krishna, and then when we start acting in that relationship, then we get delivered from sufferings. Then we achieve mercy of Krishna. We become eligible to attain the spiritual world, Golok Vrindavan Dham. Right? That is what Krishna appears in this world. And he's saying that, like in this process, we could see that. So he delivered this knowledge through disciplic succession coming to us. And he is also talking about his transcendental birth and activity. And he said how he reciprocate with all of us. So ye yatha mam prapadyanti tam sa tathaiva bhajamya. He said, as per the surrender, level of surrender or degree of surrender, Krishna reciprocates with us. We have discussed all these things. Yeah. So ultimately, Krishna is reciprocating with everyone. Yes, it's just a degree of surrender or degree of faith we have in Krishna. Accordingly, Krishna is reciprocating with all of us. And then we also discussed that how people are, based on their desire, they are worshipping different demigods. Or whatever different processes they are following, the root behind that is desire. Different kinds of desire is there, and that's why based on that desire, people worshipping different people or different demigods. So that is Krishna explained about. And he also explained about that in this world, he created the social order, the system that we call Chatur Varnam Maya Srishtam, Krishna is saying. The four orders, spiritual orders. So like Brahmacharya Ashram and Grihasthashram, Vanprasthashram, these are ashram, and Varna like Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. And why this order he created? What is the purpose? So that whatever desire we have, different kinds of desire, different kinds of people, different kinds of these different categories are based on that desire only, right? So whatever desire is there, if we follow the rules and regulations mentioned in this social order or spiritual order, so ultimate purpose of following those rules and regulations is ultimately to reach to Krishna consciousness. Yes, we may be having different desires or we may be following different processes, but ultimately when we following rules and regulations, we have to understand that the ultimate objective of following those rules and regulations is to achieve this ultimate consciousness, Krishna consciousness, right? And then Krishna is saying that though I have created these for this varnashram system, but I am not affected. Namam karmani limpanti name karma phale spriha. No work affects me. I am not and I don't desire fruits of action. So Krishna does not desire any fruits of his action. Whatever he is doing, just doing. Yes. And he is not, no work affects him, means he is transcendental. Whatever activity he is doing, he is untouched with that. He doesn't get any reaction for that because he is the lawmaker. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? Krishna is transcendental. And then he's saying that one who knows about it, iti mam yo vijanati karma bhina sabadhyate, one who knows about my transcendental nature, he also does not get entangled or does not get reactions of his actions. This is what the point we are discussing about, because we also want to become free from reactions of our action. And Krishna is saying that the intricacies of karma is very difficult to understand. Karmana gano gati. Yes, intricacies of action is very difficult to understand. And that's why he's saying that one should try to understand what is karma, what is vikarma, and what is akarma. So we were discussing about these three categories of karma. So action means activities which is prescribed in scriptures, good activities. Prescribed duties in these 4 varna and 4 ashram, whatever different duties are there, being a brahmana, kshatriya, vaishya, shudra, or being in any of the ashram, whatever duty is, doing that duty, karma. Vikarma, forbidden action, which is not recommended, which is sinful. And what is akarma? So we discuss about it. Akarma means inaction. Inaction, that is the English meaning, English word. But inaction means that karma which does not bring any kind of reaction or sinful reaction in our life. That kind of karma. And what is that karma? Good karma, bad karma, and then inaction, akarma. Akarma means we are not responsible for the reaction of that karma. And that karma is Krishna conscious karma. When we take responsibility of our karma, then we are bound to suffer the fruits of that action, fruits of that karma. Is it clear? Last time we discussed in detail. When I take responsibility of my karma, or if I say I am the doer, then I become responsible to either suffer or enjoy according to the karma we do. Good karma, good result, bad karma, bad result. But when we do karma, when we take action on behalf of Krishna, then I am not responsible for that. I don't get any reaction for that. Clear? Inaction is very simple to understand. When I do activity on behalf of Krishna, that becomes inaction. And we gave so many examples to understand it, like a person, an army person at border, killing so many people, right? And he is doing on behalf of government, and that's why he is not getting reaction for that. And he is getting award for that. But the same person, if he is killing somebody at his own, maybe in his village, in his city, for his own purpose, then he becomes responsible for that and he gets punishment for that. So Krishna consciousness is very easy to understand, means working for Krishna, working for the satisfaction of Krishna or according to the will, dovetailing our will with the will of Krishna. That is called Krishna consciousness. And this kind of activity this consciousness is called transcendental consciousness. We become a transcendental platform. We don't get any, we are unaffected by the sufferings, by the pain and pleasure of this material world. So that is what we are going to discuss. Somebody who is at transcendental platform or somebody who is in the state of inaction, what are the qualities? Because we want to come at this stage, right? We want to come at transcendental platform, or we want to do inaction so that we don't get any reaction. And also before that, Krishna also said, no, karmano hi api bodhita. No, this is, yes. Karmani akarmaya pashyed, akarmani cha karmaya, sabuddhiman manushyesu sayukta kritsna karma krit. So this is the 18th verse we discussed already. One who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is intelligent among men. This one point we need to understand. After this we will move on. Action in inaction and inaction in action. One who sees is an intelligent man. Inaction in action means what? What is the meaning of this word? Inaction, inaction.
In the center.
Uh-huh.
In the center. Meaning there is a circumference
Hmm.
and you are at the center. Activity is happening on the circumference. So you are in the center. You are centered.
Centered, more, let's make it more clear. Inaction, inaction.
You don't think you are the doer. You are doing on behalf of Krishna.
Yes, yes. That is inaction. Means you are doing activity. It's not that here, in inaction, one meaning, literal meaning of inaction is do not do your duty or give up your activity. So that is not the meaning. One who sees inaction in action means one who is doing his duty or doing activity, but he is not getting reaction for that, or he is not getting sinful reaction for that. So like one example we can see, like Arjuna, he is fighting in the battlefield on behalf of Krishna or for the pleasure of Krishna, as per the will of Krishna, right? He is fighting. He is killing so many people, but he is at the same time, he is not doing anything, or he is not getting reaction for that. So this is inaction in action. So action in inaction and inaction in action. One who sees this. So this is a bit jugglery, but understanding is when we work for Krishna, then we become free from the reaction, or that is called inaction. So what are the qualities? A person who is in this state, a state of inaction, yasya sarve samarambha kama sankalpa varjita jnanagni dagdha karmanam tam ahu panditam buddha. One is understood to be in full knowledge, whose every endeavor is devoid of desire for sense gratification. Yes? So one who is in full knowledge, whose every endeavor, every endeavor is devoid of desire for sense gratification. He is said by sages to be a worker for whom the reactions of work have been burned up by the fire of perfect knowledge. So knowledge here is compared to fire. So one who is in full knowledge means, we have discussed, knowledge means knowing our true self, knowing Krishna, and knowing our relationship with Krishna. So this is full knowledge. So one who is in this knowledge that I am Krishna's part and parcel, I am Krishna's servant, and my duty is to serve Krishna, to please Krishna. Yes. So who is in this knowledge? So then he is simply working for Krishna. He doesn't have any personal desire for sense gratification. Yasya sarve samarambha. One who is free from desire for sense gratification means he is working for Krishna. Because desire we cannot eliminate. Desire will always be there. Either desire will be there to satisfy our personal senses, enjoying sense or enjoying self independently from Krishna, or enjoying with Krishna. The desire will always be there. But a Krishna conscious person, he doesn't enjoy independently, or he doesn't he is not engaged in sense gratification. Whatever he does for the pleasure of Krishna. So this person, with the help of knowledge, all the sense gratification desire is, there's no desire for sense gratification. So such kind of knowledge, if we have this knowledge, so Prabhupada at the end of this purport is writing, such a fire once kindled can burn up all kinds of reactions to work. So means once we get such knowledge and we implement this, then all kinds of sinful reactions will be burned up. There will be no reaction for actions. So this is a person in Krishna. Means a person who is in the state of inaction is knowledgeable. He is in full knowledge. Tyaktva karma phalasangam nitya tripto nirashaya karmani avipravittopi naiva kinchit karoti sa. Abandoning all attachment to the results of his activities, ever satisfied and independent, He performs no fruitive action, although engaged in all kinds of undertakings. So just see the points over here, abandoning all attachment to the results of his activities. He is doing activities, but he is not attached with result. He is doing his best. So again and again you will see that Krishna is never asking anyone to stop his activities. This is for sure. We have to perform our duties, we have to do our duties, but without attachment. Ever satisfied and independent. Independent means, it doesn't mean that he is working freely. So here independent is like he is satisfied in self. He is satisfied in self. Self means that satisfied in self means he does not have any material greed. Any material greed. So we'll discuss in later shlokas that a Krishna conscious person is happy. Whatever is in his life, he is very much grateful for that. He is very much satisfied. He is very much happy for that. But again, he is not lazy. He is always engaged in his duties. He performs no fruitive action, though engaged in all kinds of undertakings. So all kinds of undertakings, whatever responsibility, whatever duties we have, he is engaged in all those activities. He is not a lazy person. Nirashiyat chittatma tyakta sarva parigraha shariram kevalam karma kurvannapnoti kilbisham. So further qualities. So these are the few, verse number 20 if you see. This is the beginner's stage. These are the qualities when somebody is in the beginning stage of Krishna consciousness, we can say. No, he is not engaged in fruitive activities. He is engaged in Nishkam Karma Yoga. He is working with detachment. That is one quality of a person in this state of inaction. Next, such a man of understanding acts with mind and intelligence perfectly controlled. This is the next quality. His mind and senses perfectly controlled. Gives up all sense of proprietorship over his possessions. Yes, now this is gradually advancing. So these are the qualities we must know that when we advance in Krishna consciousness, these qualities will develop, right? So first we will give up the sense gratification, or we will engage in service of Krishna, and then definitely when we engage in service of Krishna, this kind of mind and intelligence controlled. Controlled means mind and intelligence. What does it mean? Controlled mind and controlled senses means engaged in proper activity, engaged in Krishna consciousness. That is controlled mind. That is controlled senses, regulated life.
Sthita prajna.
Sthita, yes.
Can we say that somebody who's equanimous?
Equanimous, yes. Controlled mind and senses, not disturbed. When situations are changing, with the change of situations, the person is not deviated or distracted from his goal. Controlled mind and senses, yes. And what to eat, what not to eat, when to sleep, when to wake up. These are all controlled mind and senses. People in controlled mind and senses, they will be very much regulated in their life. Balanced life. Give up all sense of proprietorship. He knows that I am not the master. Krishna is the master. Yes, I am just a caretaker. So this understanding will develop. Yes. Whatever we have, Krishna is, I am getting from Krishna. Maybe beauty, maybe wealth, maybe knowledge, whatever we have, that belongs to Krishna. He is the source of everything. And acts only for the bare necessities of life. Yes. Shariram kevalam karma kurvan apnoti kilvisham. Bare necessities of life. Maybe we all have necessities, and we may have different degrees of necessities. We cannot say that this is the exact, fixed. Means one should have only this much. No, not like that. We all have different necessities. Means what is the point that minimum bare necessities of life means just to maintain this body and soul. Body and soul. Basic needs. Because people, when they do not know the goal of life, and they, in this material world, they are working hard day and night just to earn money or just to get some facilities without understanding the purpose of life, just investing their valuable time in material gains. But a person who knows that this life is for spiritual advancement, is for getting liberated from this material world, so they only work for their bare necessities, right? So necessities again means, a point here is that as much we have and we become engaged in those things, or we become entangled with those things, we don't get time for our spiritual advancement or spiritual practices. So the point here is that whatever we are trying for our life, we should not exaggerate enough, or we should not increase that so much that we don't get time for our spiritual understanding. So there should be a balance between that. So whatever is necessary, we should try for that. Yes. And also, thus, working, he is not affected by sinful reaction. So if this approach we take, then we are not affected by any sinful reaction. Because if somebody is greedy, somebody is always hankering after material achievements, material achievements is the only objective, then you will see the person will definitely try to get it by hook or by crook, by engaging in wrong activities. So here Prabhupada in purport, he is writing also that if we are just living for our bare necessities of life, our needs, then definitely we will not, devotees means especially Krishna conscious person does not engage himself in wrong activities. And if somebody is not engaged in wrong activities, then definitely he will not get any sinful reaction for that. So devotees are very simple. They live simple life. They live life for a higher purpose. And that's why they do not get such kind of reactions. And in next shloka again, Lord Krishna is saying, Yadrichalava santushto dvandadito vimatsara samasiddho vasiddho cha kritvapina nibadhyate. What is this? He who is satisfied with gain which comes of its own accord. Satisfied. So whatever, it means whatever duty, whatever service, business you're doing, whatever is coming, maybe let's say you have decided for 8 hours or 10 hours of working, to work, that we have to do. We have responsibility, we have family, we have to do work. So out of your effort, whatever is coming, be satisfied with that. Be satisfied. Yadricha lava santushto. One must be satisfied. But satisfaction does not mean, sometimes people think that if I become satisfied, then what about the growth? Should I not think about it? That I should grow, I should advance, or I should get more? Means that we can do. Means whatever, maybe 8 hours, if we are working sincerely and whatever we are getting to maintain our life and to do our fulfill our responsibilities, we should be satisfied with that. Otherwise, there is no end of dissatisfaction. Means if we simply keep on increasing, there is no end. There is no end to satisfy the greed. But we can satisfy our need. So one should be satisfied. Who is free from duality and does not envy. Who is free from duality means?
Again the balance.
Again the balance. Free from duality.
Sorrow, happiness.
Yes. Means on this journey, don't get disturbed. Don't be disturbed. Sometimes winter season, sometimes summer season. That will keep on coming and going. Matra shparsastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkada agama paino nityas tam sutatikshava bharata. Don't be disturbed. And Prabhupada is saying that a Krishna conscious person, a Krishna devotee, he is fixed in his consciousness. He is not disturbed with the dualities of this material world. Because situations will keep on changing. Sometimes happiness, sometimes sorrow will be there. But Krishna conscious person, a Krishna devotee, is always engaged in serving Krishna. He is not disturbed at all. He is just moving on in his service to Krishna. And that's why he is always happy. He is always getting transcendental happiness. Yes, any practical example like it means devotees like Prabhupada, if you see, Srila Prabhupada, just to fulfill the desire of his spiritual master, and he received instruction at the age of 24, in 1922. And throughout his life, he was just working to fulfill the desire of his spiritual master. Fulfilling the desire of his spiritual master means fulfilling the desire of Krishna. Because the spiritual master speaks only Krishna's words. Whatever Krishna's desire is there, the spiritual master's desire is same. So just to fulfill the desire of his spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, so much struggle. He struggled so much. And he was never deviated. In any age, in any situation, he was always focused for this service. Even at the age of 70, he traveled to America without any money, having few books in hands. And on this journey, he got 2 heart attacks. There was no chance to survive. But still, he never deviated. He went to America and he struggled a lot there. Means if you see his life journey and his achievements, you will be bewildered to know about it. That how can somebody at the age of 70, 75 can achieve so much, can do so much? Because he was always dedicated. Even devotees at the end, when he was just at the age of his last years or last. So they were suggesting that, Prabhupada, why you working so hard? Why you should take a rest. And Prabhupada answered, he said, a kshatriya. Kshatriya means a person on the battlefield. It's good to die on battlefield. So he was a warrior. He was working like an army person. And working for Krishna. He said, better let me die for Krishna on the battlefield. So that much dedication. No deviation at all. So a Krishna conscious person is very much fixed. He is not disturbed with circumstances. Yes. Yes. So who is steady in both success and failure? This is another quality. Success, failure. Krishna conscious person. Not even disturbed. Whatever is coming, accept it. Is never entangled although performing actions. Gata sangasya muktasya jnanavastita chetasa yagyaya charata karma samagram praviliyate. The work of a man who is unattached to the modes of material nature and who is fully situated in transcendental knowledge merges entirely into transcendence. Yes. Becoming fully Krishna conscious, one is freed from all dualities and thus he is free from the contaminations of material modes. So if you see all these qualities, gradually from the beginning to the stage of perfection. So this is the stage of perfection, fully Krishna conscious. So one who is fully Krishna conscious, he is freed from the 3 modes of material nature. Means he is not at material platform. Now he is at transcendental platform. He has become liberated because he knows his constitutional position in relationship with Krishna. And thus his mind cannot be drawn from Krishna consciousness. So one who is fully Krishna conscious, he cannot be drawn from that platform. Like Prabhupada, we discussed the example. He was fully Krishna conscious. Every moment he was absorbed in Krishna consciousness. He was always thinking of how I can please Krishna, how I can serve Krishna, how I can spread the message of Krishna. He was always absorbed in that, whatever activity he was doing. So like that, we can also do whatever activity we are doing. We have some job, we have some business, we have some family responsibility, we have some social responsibility. We have to do those things. But how to do this? In a Krishna conscious way, to please Krishna. That is what Prabhupada is doing, that is what Arjuna was doing. So consequently, whatever he does for Krishna, who is primal Vishnu. Therefore, all his work are technically sacrifices, because sacrifice aims at satisfying the Supreme Person, Vishnu, Krishna. The resultant reaction to all such work certainly merge into transcendence, and one does not suffer material effects. We will discuss about this point now. Yagyaya acharata karma. So in third chapter we were discussing about yagya. What is yagya? So, what is yagya? Sacrifice. That is the literal meaning of yagya, means sacrifice. Now here, first of all, in these shlokas, few shlokas, we were discussing about the different qualities of a person who is in the state of inaction. Amongst a person who is in inaction, or in simple word, a person who is Krishna conscious, one who is working for Krishna, all these divine qualities are there. He doesn't work for sense gratification. He is always working for the pleasure of Krishna. He is not disturbed with the situations, or he is free from dualities, right? And yagyaya acharata karma. He is always, the same meaning. He is always working, or he is always performing yagya. Yagya we have discussed in detail in third chapter. Yagya means working for the pleasure of yagya, working for the pleasure of yagyapati, the master of the yagya, or the benefactor of the yagya. Who is benefactor of the yagya? The supreme benefactor of the yagya. Who is that? Vishnu, Krishna. So working for Krishna. So sacrifice, one literal meaning, or what we know about putting some oblation into the fire. Yagya, ahuti. Putting some oblation, giving some ahuti into the fire. That is called yagya. But here in Bhagavad Gita we are learning that yagya is not just putting some oblation into the fire. That is one process. That is one way of offering oblations. But yagya means yagya karma samudbhava. We could see the cycle, how everything taking place. Annad bhavanti bhutani. And we see in this further verses, yagya karma samudbhava. Yagya is born out of karma, action. Means action, from action, yagya takes place. And what kind of action? And what is the ultimate objective of yagya? Why do we do yagya? Purification and to please Krishna. That is the ultimate purpose of yagya. So gata sangasya muktasya jnana vashtita chetasa yagyaya acharata karma samagram praviliyate. A Krishna conscious person is free from all attachment. He is liberated. He is always situated in transcendental knowledge, and he is always working for the pleasure of Krishna. And that this way he is totally absorbed in Krishna consciousness 24 hours, never disturbed, and he is then free from all sufferings. So now Krishna is explaining about different kinds of yagya. We know that one yagya is offering oblations into the Agni, fire. What different other kinds of yagyas are there? So he is saying, Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmaevatena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. So first of all he is speaking about a person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to the spiritual activities. So this is about a person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness. So a person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness means in which his consummation is absolute, and that which is offered of is the same spiritual nature. Means here, if you see the yagya, means there is a person who is offering, who is doing yagya, and there are some oblations which is being offered to the fire, and the fire is there. So different things are there. But when it comes to a person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness, no, so everything is a spiritual platform. We will understand it. Huh? Everything is at a spiritual platform. How activities in Krishna consciousness can lead one ultimately to the spiritual goal is described here. There are various activities in Krishna consciousness and all of them will be described in the following verses. But for the present, just the principle of Krishna consciousness is described. A conditioned soul entangled in material consciousness is material contamination is sure to act in the material atmosphere, and yet he has to get out of such environment. So like we are in material world, conditioned state, and the objective is to get out of such an environment or to get free from material entanglement. The process by which the conditioned soul can get out of the material atmosphere is Krishna consciousness. And this is the process, Krishna conscious process. For example, a patient who is suffering from a disorder of the bowels due to overindulgence in milk products is cured by another milk product, namely curd. So the problem and solution, like milk, if we take overindulgence in milk products, so we face some problem, and to cure that problem, the same product in a different form, you're using curd. So like we are here in this material world, entangled in this material world. So how we can solve the problem of this material world? How we can get out of this material world? What is that process? Krishna consciousness. The same thing, like what is material, what is spiritual? Ultimately, here in this, we are trying to understand what is spiritual, what is material. So like matter, we know this is all material, right? And matter means earth, water, air, fire, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego. This is material, gross and subtle, material elements. And what is a spiritual element? Sat, Chit, Ananda. This is spiritual. So, can we make this spiritual? This material, this matter, can we make this spiritual?
Yes.
Or can we spiritualize it?
Yes, by engaging it in devotional service.
By engaging in devotional service. Matter, if we engage in service of Krishna, by engaging material, we can make it spiritual, or we can spiritualize it. So similarly, like in this material world, we are entangled, we are affected by the three modes of material nature. But if we engage ourselves in Krishna's service, then we spiritualize ourselves. Prabhupada gives another very simple example to understand, like iron rod. If you put the iron rod into fire, then it becomes red hot. Is it iron or fire?
Fire.
It becomes fire. If you put it in an ice or some cold atmosphere, then it becomes cold. So wherever, because based on the association. So similarly, if we keep associated with material nature, if we keep on trying to enjoy this, we are engaged in sense gratification, understanding that I am the master, I am the enjoyer, I'm this body, then we will be bound to suffer the material reactions. But if we keep in association with devotees, if we keep in association with Krishna, then definitely we will become transcendental like Krishna. Because we are transcendental, then we will experience our true nature. So that is what here, that if we want to be free from this material entanglement, then Krishna consciousness is one process. So like the materially absorbed conditioned soul can be cured by Krishna consciousness as set forth here in Gita. This process is generally known as yajna. So, or activities simply meant for the satisfaction of Vishnu or Krishna. The more the activities of the material world are performed in Krishna consciousness or for Vishnu only, the more the atmosphere becomes spiritualized by complete absorption. So we don't have to give up any material activity. Activity is going to be the same. Yes, we are working, doing some job. We don't have to give up that. What we have to do? The more we spiritualize our activity, the more we become Krishna conscious. So we don't have to give up activities, but we have to spiritualize it. Sometimes when we speak about bhakti, so people think that, okay, we have to give up everything. No. Krishna is not asking for that. So he is asking just to spiritualize it. Okay. So the word Brahma means spiritual. The Lord is spiritual, and the rays of his transcendental body called Brahma Jyoti, his spiritual effulgence. Everything that exists is situated in that Brahma Jyoti. But when the Jyoti is covered by illusion or sense gratification, it is called material. So anyway, this is detail. We are not going into that. The only difference is anything which is in association with Krishna, that is spiritual. Anything which is away from Krishna, that is material. Ultimately, either material or spiritual, that is Krishna's energy. And also Prabhupada is giving a very simple example to understand. One energy, like electricity. Electricity is same. If you connect it to fridge, it will, or if you connect it to AC, that will make it cool, right? And the same electricity, if you connect it to heater, it will produce heat. Easy to understand? So Krishna's energy, either material or spiritual, this is Krishna's energy. It's all about how we utilize it, how we engage it. So if we engage it in service of Krishna, that becomes spiritual, that becomes transcendental, that becomes karma free, that doesn't get any reaction in our life. But when we separate it from Krishna, and when we engage that energy, that becomes a source of suffering, or that brings reactions in our life. So here, when it comes to Krishna conscious person, his every activity is spiritual. So this is the purport of this shloka. So a devotee, because he knows that he is soul, and the activity he is doing for the pleasure of Krishna, means the person who is performing yajna, he is also spiritual, and the process he has chosen, that is also spiritual. And for whose pleasure he is doing? For Krishna. Krishna is also spiritual. So in devotee's life, a person in Krishna consciousness, everything is spiritual, and the result of this process is spiritual, going back home, back to Godhead. So this is the purport of this shloka, saying that a fully absorbed person in Krishna consciousness, his everything of the performer, the oblation, the fire, everything is spiritual. Even the result of that yajna is spiritual. So everything is spiritual in Krishna consciousness. Now, next sloka is going. Daivam eva pare yagyam yogina paryupasate brahmagnau apare yagyam yagyena upajuyati. Now he is talking about other kinds of yajna. So one yajna is Krishna conscious yajna, fully Krishna conscious, fully spiritual. Now he is saying, some yogis perfectly worship the demigods by offering different sacrifices to them. There are yogis, there are worshippers, they worship demigods, we discussed in last class, and there are different processes mentioned in the scriptures, in Vedic scriptures. So to please a particular demigod, there are a specific process. We can follow that process and please them and get the desired result. And why people worship demigods? We discussed last time. Why they worship? Desire. Kamshata karmanam siddhim yajanti iha devata. So different kinds of demigods are there, and people, as per their desire, they approach particular demigod, and very quickly they get result. Okay? Very quickly they get result. But what is the difference? Why even in later chapters we will see Krishna is criticizing that less intelligent people approach demigods. Why? We will not get into this right now. But why he is saying that? Because the result we receive from demigods, that is temporary. That is material, not spiritual. And anything material means that is temporary. That will be finished. No, that is not. So intelligent means working for the permanent. So anyway, here, So one yajna is like worshipping demigods, and and the sacrifices related to that worship. And some of them offer sacrifices in the fire of the Supreme Brahman. So there are some yogis or some people you will see, their ultimate goal is achieving or getting merged into Brahma Jyoti. Brahma Leen, you must have heard people sometimes writing title Brahma Leen. So because their objective goal of life is to get merged into the Brahma. Brahma is the bodily effulgence of Krishna. Yes, Brahma Jyoti. What is this? Bodily effulgence of Krishna. There are three aspects of Krishna. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagwan. So one is Bhagwan, because Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is Bhagwan. And his bodily effulgence is Brahma Jyoti. And Krishna himself, as Paramatma, he is residing in everyone's heart. So if Krishna is not there, there is no Paramatma, there is no Brahma Jyoti. So Krishna is the source of Brahma Jyoti, Krishna is the source of Paramatma. So devotees know all these three aspects. But person like this one who wants to get merged into Brahma Jyoti, they don't have any idea about Paramatma, they don't have any idea about Bhagavan. They think that only this light is everything, and the goal of life is to get merged into it. So they do some kind of sacrifices, they do some kind of activities or follow some kind of process to get merged into this. Inactiveness kind of, there's no work, just be merged, just get merged into it. But that is not recommended. That is not a very higher stage. Why? Because soul is very active. And sometimes people, when this material world, they are frustrated with this, the sufferings of this material world. They think that as long as we have this body, so much of suffering is there. Of course, that is true. Material body means source of suffering. And what they think that if this body is not there, then just finish this body and get merged into this effulgence or the Brahma Jyoti, and then there will be no suffering. That is true, there will be no suffering. But that state is not the ultimate state, because soul is very active. I give you example many a times that if you are given a room with lots of facilities, how long can you survive? How long can you be there? Nobody is there to talk to you. Nobody is there to exchange your heart. How long will you be there? Just sitting idle, doing nothing. Will you stay there for long? No. So soul is very active. And Srila Prabhupada very strongly, if you hear his lectures, in this body, even we can see how active soul is. So how is it possible that once there is no body, the soul will become inactive? No, desire, soul will be there. So anyway, we will discuss in detail sometimes later. So today is what we are trying to understand that. So this is another kind of people. Their goal is to get merged into Brahma Jyoti. They are called impersonalists. They do not believe in the form of Krishna. They think God is impersonal, and God is when he comes in this material world, he is entangled by the three modes of material nature. It is like God is under control of Maya. So if somebody is in control of Maya or into the clutches of Maya, can he be God? No. God is Mayapati. He can never be under the clutches of Maya. But if we see the impersonalist philosophy, as per their philosophy, God is, when he comes in this material world, he is also bound by the three modes of material nature. So this is wrong philosophy. It means this is not right understanding. Krishna is always Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Krishna never comes under the clutches of Maya, material energy. Whatever pastimes he performs, he does it under his spiritual potency. Atma Maya. Prakritim swam adhisthaya. So Prakritim swam adhisthaya sambhavami Atma Maya. He's saying, I come to this material world by my own spiritual potency. by the arrangement of my spiritual potency, not material energy. Material energy is this Mahamaya, three modes of material nature. There is a spiritual energy, there is material energy. Material energy, we are being controlled by this material energy. But God and in spiritual world, all the arrangements are being done by spiritual potency, spiritual energy. And either material energy or spiritual energy, both working under the direction of Krishna. Yes? So, Krishna is Supreme Personality. He is a person. But impersonally, they do not believe in it. But devotees, they believe in it, that Krishna is the Supreme Person. He is a person. He himself, he is residing in everyone's heart as Paramatma. And the bodily effulgence of Krishna is Brahmajyoti. So these are all three different aspects of Krishna. Shrotadini indriyanyanye sanyam magnishu juyati shabdadin vishayan anya indriyagnishu juyati. Some unadulterated brahmachari. Now it is talking about brahmacharis. Like brahmachari ashram, brahmacharis. Sacrifice the hearing process and the senses in the fire of mental control, and others, the regulated householders, sacrifice the objects of the senses in the fire of the senses. So two categories. Brahmacharis, what they do? Hearing process. What is their sacrifice? They hear about Krishna. And what is the use of hearing? What is the purpose of hearing? To control the mind and senses. They control, sacrifice hearing process and the senses in the fire of mental control. So brahmacharis means they control their mind and senses. And the process is hearing. And grihastha, like we are, family members, what they do? Sacrifice the objects of senses in the fire of senses. So this is for grihastha. Fire. So sacrifice objects of senses in the fire of senses. How to understand it?
Sense gratification.
Sense gratification, grihastha, family life, sense objects. One way is gratifying, but what is the ideal way of gratifying the senses? There is a difference. Once I discuss this, then you will understand. Grihastha and Grihamedhi, there are two terms. Grihastha and Grihamedhi. Grihastha is ashram. Grihamedhi means one who does not follow the rules and regulations of Grihastha. Family life. Especially when it comes to family life, then we talk about husband, wife and children. Right? Why are they coming together? Husband and wife coming together. What is the purpose of coming together? Marriage, a ceremony, a samskar. What is the purpose of marriage? Procreation. Procreating a Krishna conscious child. This is the complete definition of Grihastha. What is procreating or giving birth to a Krishna conscious child, God conscious child, a good child, progeny? That is the purpose of family life. Brahmachari, then Grihastha. So, if somebody, and there is a rules and regulations for this, mentioned in scriptures, family life, how we can lead family life, how we can fulfill the responsibility towards each other, husband, wife, father, mother, all those rules and regulations are there. And begetting a child means the ultimate purpose is to give birth to a Krishna conscious child. But if somebody is not knowing about the purpose, simply for sense gratification, most of the people in this material world you see, marriage means it's a kind of free license to enjoy your senses. That is called Grihamedhi. Grihamedhi means one is simply breaking the rules of family life. Otherwise, this is an ashram. Ashram means a place, atmosphere, conducive atmosphere where you can practice your Krishna consciousness. You can advance your consciousness, not polluting your consciousness. So this is the purpose. So Grihastha, they are using their senses for the pleasure of Krishna. Engaging their senses, using their senses for the pleasure of Krishna. So that is sacrifice, that is yajna. So every activity we do, that is a kind of yajna. And every activity means with right understanding, with right purpose. Sarvani indriya karmani prana karmani cha pare atasanyam yogagno juyati jnana deepite. Others who are interested in achieving self-realization through control of the mind and senses offer the functions of all the senses and control of the life breath as oblations into the fire of the controlled mind. So this is about Patanjali yoga system. Pranayama. We do some breathing exercise. What is the use? Like in this sense, about talking about, Prabhupada is giving detailed description about the breathing, some breathing yoga practices. Pranayam, Anulom, Vilom, Pranayam. What is the purpose of this? Like different kinds of air. I'll request you all, because this we are trying to cover many shlokas, so we don't go through the purport, detailed purport. So if you read it, you will get much more detail about it. I'm just giving you concept. So there are different kinds of air within us, in our body. Prana Vayu, Apan Vayu. So like different kinds of Vayu. If you know about Ayurveda, they simply work on it.
Breathing techniques.
Yes, through breathing techniques, and so we can. So this practice, why this breathing techniques they are practicing? The purpose is to control the mind and senses. This is the first objective, not the ultimate objective. This is the first objective, controlling the mind and senses. And why controlling mind and senses? Because until mind is or senses are controlled, we cannot do self-realization. We cannot reach to that stage. That's why any of the yoga practice, control of mind and sense is very much required. Uncontrolled mind and senses, we cannot do this, anything. Dravya yagya tapo yagya yoga yagya yatha pare swadhyaya jnana yagyascha yataya samshit vrata. Having accepted a strict vow, some become enlightened by sacrificing their possessions. So this is for and others by performing severe austerities. So there are another kind of dravya yagya. Dravya yagya means dravya yagya. Yes, whatever wealth, because there are rich people. So dravya yagya means any of the sacrifice, money, wealth, some maybe goods, whatever. Charity, that is called. So that is a kind of yagya. Giving donations, that is yagya. Become enlightened by sacrificing their possessions, and others by performing severe austerities. And there are people you will see, they will perform very severe austerity. Tapasya. Right? So if you go in detail and discuss, you will see so many ways. And Prabhupada is giving example like in Chaturmas. Chaturmas we know, Kartik month, and before that we see 4 months. It's very auspicious. And people do lots of austerity. Waking up early in the morning, taking bath with cold water, or giving up favorite food. They do not take any favorite food, or not. Maybe sometimes people, they do not shave for 4 months, all 4 months. That is a kind of austerity, right? So different austerities are there. So this is again a kind of yagya. By practicing the yoga of eightfold mysticism, or by studying the Vedas to advance in transcendental knowledge. So there are people, they do eightfold mysticism, Ashtanga yoga, yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, atyahar, pratyahar, not atyahar, pratyahar it is, and it goes up to dhyan and dharan, samadhi. These are different stages. Now people think that only doing some kind of maybe physical exercise, maybe anulom, vilom, pranayam, that's enough. No, that is few steps. But ultimate objective of this yoga system is not only keep yourself physically fit, but raise yourself to Krishna consciousness. That is samadhi, being totally absorbed in Krishna, 24 hours. That is, or by studying the Vedas to advance in transcendental knowledge. The study of Veda is also kind of yagya. Yes, getting knowledge. So all these different kinds of activities are there. Apane juyati pranam prane panam tatha pare prana panagati rudva pranayam parayana apare nihat ahara pranan prane sujuyati. Still others who are inclined to the process of breath restraint to remain in trance practice by offering the movement of outgoing breath into the incoming and the incoming breath into the outgoing, and thus at the last remain in trance, stopping all breathing. Others, curtailing the eating process, offer the outgoing breath into itself as a sacrifice. We already discussed about, maybe I just missed, but this is again the same yoga system and some breathing pattern. Breathing is controlling the breath, or the purpose is spiritual advancement or being detached from material. So here Prabhupada is talking about, yes, the same pranayam. This system of yoga for controlling and breathing process is called pranayam. And in the beginning, it is prescribed in the Hatha yoga system through different sitting postures. All of these processes are recommended for controlling the senses and the advancement in spiritual realization. This is the point we must understand. This is the objective of all the yoga system. And if you see about this yoga system, how do you feel? Which one is good for you? Which one you think is good for you? Whatever we studied, lots of austerities, or controlling your breath, or doing some kind of Ashtanga yoga, standing on your toes for long years. Which one is good for you? Just choose one of it. I'm not going in detail, but if you see all these different processes, you just try to find out which one, because any of the yajna we are in, or we must do that. Sarve api yete yajna vido yakshijapita kalmasha yajna sishtamrata bhujo yanti brahma sanatanam. All these performers who know the meaning of sacrifice become cleansed of sinful reactions, and having tasted the nectar of the results of sacrifices, they advance toward the supreme eternal atmosphere. Now hear it very attentively. All these performers who know the meaning of sacrifice. What is the meaning of sacrifice? Now you all know about it. What is the meaning? Sacrifice.
Giving up something you love and like, and giving up something you like or love for somebody else.
For a higher purpose.
For
a higher purpose or a higher quality.
Yes, Archana Mataji has given a very nice definition to understand it. Giving, what is that? Giving something you love. Giving up something you love to whom?
For somebody, for some person you love or something.
Somebody who you love. This is very nice. This line you can remember. Giving something you love to somebody you love.
Giving up something.
Giving up something, yes. That is called sacrifice. Very nice definition. Something you love. It's not that, okay, I don't love something, okay, somebody is coming, give it to him. I don't like it, give it to him. Giving up something you love to somebody you love. Whom should we love? Who is our real lover? Krishna. So something you love, give it to Krishna. That is called sacrifice. Very nice definition. So this is the meaning of sacrifice, that working for the pleasure of Krishna. This is the meaning. Cleansed of sinful reactions. One who knows the meaning of yajna, cleansed of sinful reaction. He will be free because he is not engaged in material activity. He is not engaged in sense gratification. Why we speak sense gratification? Because if somebody is engaged in sense gratification, as per Srimad Bhagavatam, he is bound to engage in sinful activities. Understand this. One who is engaged in sense gratification or taking interest in sense gratification, he is bound. Knowingly, unknowingly, he will be engaged in sinful activities. But one who is free from sense gratification, one who is simply engaged in satisfying the senses of Krishna, by default, he will be free from sinful reaction because he is not engaged in sinful action. So he will not get any reaction, sinful reaction. And having tasted the nectar of the result of sacrifices, having tasted the nectar. So when you do sacrifice, you experience bliss, you taste nectar. In Krishna conscious, when you are in association or you are serving Krishna, you experience bliss, you experience nectar, you taste nectar. And once you taste nectar, in previous shloka, Krishna was saying, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasvarjam rasopasya param drashtva nivartate. Param drashtva. What is that param drashtva? Higher taste. When you taste nectar, then you will forget about rest everything which is not tasty. Yes? Once you have higher taste, lower taste will automatically go away. So, having tasted the nectar of the result of sacrifices, they advance toward the supreme eternal atmosphere. So once you taste, once you get a spiritual taste, transcendental, mellow, you will become unstoppable. You will not be able to stop yourself, because naturally then you will advance towards your spiritual atmosphere. You will lose your taste for material things, material pale things. You will develop your taste in Krishna consciousness and you will gradually advance in Krishna consciousness. How many of you feeling fearful? Losing your material taste. Sometimes people get fearful about, oh, what about my material things? How will I survive? No, don't think, because Krishna consciousness is transcendental happiness. It's not material happiness. And that transcendental happiness, as I said, that you need not to give up anything, your material things. Don't worry about it. Simply you need to spiritualize it. Simply we have to spiritualize it. Everything is with us. Simply when you offer food to Krishna, what happens? Does he take everything? He doesn't give it to you back? What do you get? When you offer food to Krishna, what do you get? You get prasadam, means food plus mercy together. You offered him food and you get, along with your food, you get mercy. That is called prasadam. So there is nothing, no fear at all in Krishna consciousness. You are not going to lose anything. You will get it. It's simply our loving gesture. Krishna has given us everything. Krishna is the source of everything. Simply we are showing our love to him by offering it to him. So if we offer it, Krishna will give it us back with mercy. So no fear at all. Nayam lokosti ayagyasya kuto anyasya kuru sattama. Now what is Krishna saying? Oh best of the Kuru dynasty, oh best of the Kuru dynasty, without sacrifice one can never live happily on this planet or in this life. What then for the next? Now he is very clearly what Krishna is saying. Yes, our time is up now. So just we'll take 2 shlokas and explain and close it. So see, now we don't have any option. We have to do yajna. We have to perform yajna. Why? Because Krishna is saying that without sacrifice, one can never live happily on this planet or in this life. Without yajna, without sacrifice, we cannot be happy. We cannot be happy without, yes. What then of the next? So forget about next life. Even in this life, we cannot be happy. Yes. So these are all different kinds of yajna. Evam bahuvidha yajna vitata brahmano mukhe karma gyan viditan sarvan evam gyatva vimokshase. All these different types of sacrifice are approved by the Vedas. So whatever different kinds of sacrifices or different kinds of activities, processes are given there for self-realization, all these are approved by Vedic scripture. All these are mentioned in Vedas. It's not mental, it's very authentic process. And all of them are born of different types of work. I explained to you already. Yajna doesn't mean sitting idle. There's an activity involved in it. So we should never think that devotion means, sometimes people think that devotion means no action. No. Actually devotion means performing your activity with right understanding. Devotion means performing your action with proper understanding, with knowledge. We can say with knowledge. Performing your action with knowledge, that is called devotion. So, knowing them as such, you will be liberated. So, knowing them as such, you will be liberated. And now at the 33rd sloka, we will close here. O chastier of the enemy, the sacrifice performed in knowledge is better than the mere sacrifice of material possessions. After all, O son of Pritha, all sacrifices of work culminate in transcendental knowledge. So now Krishna is giving a comparison, or Krishna is saying that which one is the best? What is the best? Yajna or sacrifice. So maybe there are people doing lots of other different kinds of yajna, different kinds of sacrifices. But what is the purpose of doing all these different sacrifices or following different processes? What is the ultimate objective? Yes? Transcendental knowledge. Knowing that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His part and parcel servant, and serving in this relationship. This is knowledge. So whatever we are doing, finally we should do in such a way that we can come to this platform. And out of all these different sacrifices, in 10th chapter, Krishna is saying which one is the topmost, not only within, but he's saying what is the topmost yajna? Japanam yajna asmi. Krishna is saying in yajna, I am japa. Like in 10th chapter, when you go, you will see so many things. Krishna is giving so many comparisons. He is talking about, I am the topmost. I'm this, among this. And he is saying, among yajna, the topmost yajna, I am japa. Chanting the holy name of the Lord. Right? And we will do one workshop. I was just planning for, we will do one workshop on japa. Maybe next class, because now here we are talking about yajna. So we can keep one workshop on japa. So we will understand, how important this yajna is, how to perform it with the right understanding, with the right mood. Yes. So this one simple, and that's why I asked you which one out of whatever we discuss, do you feel comfortable with all those yajnas? Doing some kind of maybe fire oblation or some kind of Ashtanga yoga process, or controlling your breath, controlling your mind and senses. Do you think you can do that? Huh? Is it easy? Controlling your minds, controlling your senses, giving lots of donations. Huh? There are some limitations, right? And it will be very difficult. And that's why in Kali Yuga, in every yuga, but in Kali Yuga especially, seeing our qualification, so much, less qualification we have, and less age or lifespan. So Krishna is so merciful in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He appeared in this Kali Yuga and to give us this wonderful process of chanting the holy name of the Lord. And this will give us the ultimate perfection of life. Whatever the result we are discussing about, simply by chanting in association with devotees, we will achieve that perfection. So in that workshop, maybe next session we can keep one workshop, and in that we will discuss in detail about, because in classes maybe we are not able to discuss much, but so in that workshop we can step by step discuss about how to do it and the different steps about it. But the simple step is chant and hear the Lord's name, and with a prayerful mood just beg His mercy. I am yours, my Lord. Now I know my relationship with you. I know my duty towards you. I'm not qualified, but still you are so merciful. Please accept me. and engage me in your loving devotional service. With this mood, just chant and pray. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. 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 Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. 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 Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Shri Chaitanya Shri Vasadeva Hare Krishna. So next session we will keep for this workshop exactly whatever number of shlokas we covered today. In fact, we could have taken it in 2 sessions because this yajna, this is specifically 1 session we could have done it. But anyway, next session we will keep a workshop so that we can have more understanding about this japa yajna. So we will then, yes, yes, yes. So next session definitely will be very nice one. I mean, Japa Yajna, as we will learn. Once you learn it and once you start practicing, and like in the morning, every morning we discuss few techniques also. So maybe in that Japa Yajna, in that session, Japa session, workshop, we will discuss about different techniques. How we can very smoothly you can chant the holy name. You can feel, you can get absorbed in that name and get benefit. You know? So we will do that. And also, yes, there are devotees, of course, you're all somehow or other contributing and participating in this service of the Lord. And Sita Komal Mataji, she decided that every month we will honor one devotee, especially for their contribution and services. So Lata Mataji, I got to know that even she is present here, not present here, but she makes it sure that she prepares some food for the Lord and send it to us here for the offering. So every time she is cooking and sending food here for the offering. So let's reciprocate with a small, not a small, this is big. Yes. Sitaram, Lakshman, Hanuman, yes.
And when she's not around, her mother ensures, the
Yes.
prasadam is sent, or her husband, somebody or the other takes the duty. We can all chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
So you all definitely sincere. Next, okay, what Radhika? Okay, this is next Saturday, I believe.
Yes,
28th. Okay. So this is another one small. Radhika, my daughter, and she was learning piano, and the teacher, Dr. Aman Batla, he is the world fastest pianist. So she was learning piano last few months, and they have organized one concert, and especially in that concert, Radhika is going to attend for Golden Book of World Record. Wow. So she will perform. So, and another good news is that M3M Foundation, because they have one project, especially into that, they support the musicians, any kind of artists, performers. So they have chosen Radhika and they have given a scholarship to her. Because so this whole project, whole event is being sponsored by M3M Foundation. And Radhika has been chosen by M3M Foundation as a scholar, as for their scholarship. So that is, of course, we were just discussing, and I never thought of it. And but one thing I have observed in my life, that if we are devoted and dedicated, just then you will see everything, whatever is required in your life, according to, and then that will manifest. Whenever it is required, that will manifest. And I have observed in my life at every step, the more we dedicate to Krishna, and whatever is required in life, that is always there, in time. So even I was never thinking of Radhika because she was just doing kirtan programs, house programs, and she was even not doing any kind of schooling also. She was doing home schooling. After 5th class, she never went to school. And she was doing herself, whatever she was learning, she was just practicing, doing. And now this is another kind of mercy of the Lord that she has been chosen and now she is going to be more sincere. And her vision is to spread this Krishna consciousness through music. So just pray for her so that she will be, she should have this sincere desire always and work for that. Again, time is. Shall we go for Prashadam now directly? Okay. Namaste Narasimhaya, Namaste Narasimhaya, Prahlada Lada Daine, Ramyakashi Purvakshaha, Srilatan Khana Khalare, Vito Nasingha Parato Nasingha, Yato Yato Yami Tato Nasingha, Hir Nasingha, Hridaye Nasingha, Narsingha Madim Sharanam Prapade, Avakar Kamalabare, Nakha Adbhuta Shingam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubhingam Keshavadrita Naraharirupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Nrsimhadev 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 Jai Nrsimhadev Jai Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Jai Prahlad Maharaj Jai Jai Prabhupada 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada Jai Jai Gurudev 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 Jai Jai Gurudev Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Damodar Radha Damodar Radhe, Jai Jagannath Jaya Baladev, Jaya Subhadra Jaya Sudarshan, Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Gauranitai, Jai Gauranitai, Jai Jai Prabhupada Prabhupada Prabhupada, Jai Jai Prabhupada. Nrsimha Bhagavad ki jai, Bhakti Bharat Maharaj ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.